Hello and welcome back to Retired Happy. This is your Retired Happy friend from Mississippi, and I'm Carolyn. I'm so glad you came in and stopped by to visit with me today. And thank you for all your comments about finishing my scarf. And it was a challenge. It was fun, and it did give me something new to look forward to, and I'm so glad I finished it, that I stuck it through. So thank you for all your comments. I got the pattern at Beverly's shop. We went on a little tour of Beverly Anglin's yarn shop, the Southern Needle. So if any of you have any yarn needs or any pattern needs, you can call Beverly at her shop and she'll be glad to help you. And thank you for all the comments on our picnic. Maizie and I went up the Natchez Trace, and I heard from so many of you who knew about the Natchez Trace and even had been on it and knew what it was like. So it is a real scenic drive from just outside Nashville, Tennessee, all the way down through Mississippi to Natchez. We have a lot of Native American history around in this area, and there are historic site markers at a lot of different stops all along the way that tell you the history of it. So today we're going to be cooking, and today I'm making the salmon cakes. And they turned out so good. So I have the salmon cakes for lunch. With it I put potatoes, and I put some stewed apples, and I had Maisie's food on the back burner, so I was cooking Maizie a new batch of her food at the same time. So I guess you have figured that I do a lot of my cooking all on the same day. But tomorrow I'm going to be going through my pantry, through my refrigerator, and making a list of everything I need for the next month, because this is the end of September. Hard to believe if this year is flying by. But we're getting ready for October. So tomorrow I'll be getting all my coupons out, making my list, doing my inventory, and then Friday will be the day to go to the grocery store. And I'll be going to Kroger, and I'll share with you on Monday what I was able to get in my coupons and how much my grocery supply cost me for next month. So anyway, the end of every month it's a challenge to plan menus for the next month and plan what I'm going to need, and I always like to fix something different. So I don't like to fix the same thing, like the salmon cakes I'm cooking today. I have not had salmon cakes in so long. So when I got them cooked, I shared with my neighbor that I stood there and nibbled on 3. They were so good because it had been so long since I'd had them. So that is what we'll be doing on Friday. And I have to look, and at the end of the month I'm using up everything that I got last month, and I want to go ahead and use all of that to make room for a new supply and get ready for a new month. So I'm using the rest of my squash, the rest of my broccoli, the rest of the apples. I've run out of milk this time, so I'm going to have to get a little bit more milk this month, and I've almost run out of eggs. So sometimes it cuts it close. But anyway, that's what's going on. My thankful for today, we have a cold front coming through. It's coming across from northwest Mississippi, from Arkansas, and coming down in our area. So we've already gotten a little bit of rain today, but the cold front is not actually here. Actually, it's going to be a cool front. It's not a cold front, but it's going to drop the temperature a little bit, which we're very, very grateful for. And so this afternoon, it is going to be, according to the radar and according to our weather predictors, it's going to be pretty stormy this evening. So I'm so grateful for the rain because it is so dry here. And I'm grateful for the lower temperatures. So that's my thankful for today. I am seeing some yellow leaves outside my front door. and fall is getting pretty close, and I love to see the change in the foliage when it starts turning to yellows and reds and orange, and we get into fall. So that's happening. I want to ask y'all something. The last week when I go out and walk Maizie, I thought there was some blooms, like some trees or some bushes were blooming like they do in the spring. And there was these little white things floating all in the air, which I thought were bloom or little flowers. Well, I found out on the news yesterday or day before that these are actually little bugs, little bitty white fuzzy bugs. And it looks like little flowers that are flying off of a tree or a bush somewhere, but they said that they are the Asian aphids, and they are hatching out right now, and it's mating season, so those old male bugs are looking for a girlfriend, and they are mating, and they are a nuisance. Every time I go outside with Maizie or go out for a walk, I have to fan those bugs out of the way. I don't want them all in my hair and bring them back inside. So let me know if you're having this invasion of the Asian beetle coming your way. I'm curious to know if it's just in my area or if it's all over the country. So I'll be glad when they go away. It seems like it's always something. Either the mosquitoes are really bad right now, so we're ready for some cool weather and some rain to help make the mosquitoes go away too. So my good word for today, and I'm going to read this because it's so good, I don't want to mess it up. So the good word for today is 5 gifts we get from gratitude. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. So 5 gifts that we get from gratitude. 1, increased energy and joy. 2, real emotional resilience. 3, greater blessings. 4, successful relationships. And 5, the satisfaction of self-love. So gratitude, that kind of goes back to one of the things I had shared with you that I stopped doing in retirement, was comparing what I have with what my neighbor or my friend or somebody else I know has, with either the way they look, the clothes they have, the house they have, the car they have, how much money they have to go spend at the grocery store. I stopped comparing myself with somebody else, but gratitude, being grateful for where I am in life, being grateful for my health, that I am in the financial situation I am in, because even though I don't have as much as a lot of my neighbors, I have a lot more than a lot of my neighbors. So I have to be grateful for what I have. Gratitude. Okay, I have been working on my fall quilted hearts, and this has been such a fun project. So I have the fall quilted hearts. Y'all let me know if you're working on your quilted hearts for fall, and if you've made any. I would be interested to know. So these are going on my Etsy shop, and I'll also be using them for my gifts and my thank you notes when I have something going on in my neighborhood. So this is the front of the card, and they are blank on the inside, and then I put the quilted heart. I used the hot glue gun to attach the decorations. This is lace, this is sewn on, and I sewed the ribbon, and then used the hot glue gun. Now some of you had asked me about my verse, so I put John 3:16. Can you read that? I put John 3:16 on all of my quilted hearts, and then I write out just John 3:16 on my watercolor note cards. So the watercolor note cards for fall, I have gotten them finished, and they are on my Etsy shop too. So it's always fun at the change of the season to have something new and different to put out and use and look forward to. So let me know what you do at your house. I've gotten a couple of pumpkins, and of course last time we made the little puff pumpkins, which are cute. So I have those kind of placed different places around my house. And then the little quilted pumpkin and chicken mug rugs. Those were so much fun to make. And I heard from a lot of you that you have also been making the pumpkin and the little chick. So it's always fun. We'll enjoy fall through the fall festivals. We call them the harvest festivals and the fall festivals rather than Halloween. And I really don't celebrate the demons and the witches at Halloween. I let them kind of do their own thing somewhere else. But we do have fall festivals. Then we'll have Thanksgiving. Then it will be time to change and shift gears to get ready for Christmas and get a new decorating theme and a new train of thought. So we'll get on with our cooking, and let me know if you make the salmon cakes, because they are really, really good. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for spending some time with me. Oh, I will tell you, tomorrow, I have had Maizie for a year in August. So now it's time for her end of the month heartworm pill, and I've got to take her to the vet tomorrow. So say a little prayer that Maizie will do good at the vet. She does not like to go to the vet. She does not like anybody messing with her feet, and her toenails need trimming really bad. So I think I'm going to have to just tell him, you know, if you have to, let's sedate her a little bit and go ahead and get her toenails clipped, because I can't clip them. She will not let me clip them. I can rub her paws in between her paw pads, but when the first snip that I make, and I have started just doing right on the tip of her nail, where I know it's not going to hurt her, but I'm just trying to get her used to me clipping it and let her know it's not going to hurt her, but nothing doing. So it's time for her annual checkup. She'll get her rabies shot. I'm not sure if she'll get any other vaccinations or not, but we've got to get her heartworm medicine refilled, that prescription. So send a little prayer up for little Maizie girl that she'll do good. And thank you for spending some of your time with us today. Share your smile with everybody. You never know what kind of difficulties they're having in their life. We had our Wednesday Bible study this afternoon. On Wednesday we have a neighborhood community Bible study, and every single person there had something to add to the prayer list, that a concern, an illness in the family, just some type of trial and tribulation that we're all going through. So we can use a smile, maybe a hug, but definitely a smile. It doesn't cost anything, and it means the world to somebody else. Thank you. Well, welcome back to my kitchen. Today is Tuesday, so you'll see this on Thursday. This weekend is going to be my grocery shopping weekend, so I've got to have something fixed to eat until I go to the grocery store again. So today I'm cooking salmon cakes. I'm going to cook some apples to go with that, and some potatoes, little boiled potatoes, and I have Maisie's food on the back burner. So I'm cooking that along with while I'm cooking my salmon cakes. So we'll get started. I'm going to go ahead and start on Maisie's food first, so it can be cooking while I work on everything else. So this is some of the beef trimmings that I had from when I was making the tallow. So I'm going to put some of the beef trimmings in the boiler. And then I have, going to put a little bit of oatmeal in there. And I have some rice. I'm going to put rice in her food. And then I'm going to chop some carrots. I have a little bit of broccoli left. And since this is the end of the month, I'm using up all of the little things that I had that I got last month, so I can use all of that and get that out of my refrigerator to make room for some other things. I have a squash, so I'm going to chop up some squash, carrots, and then the only other thing I'm going to add today is the pumpkin. And this is the canned pumpkin I had from last time when I made her food. So I'm going to get all of that together in the boiler and let that start cooking. When I'm chopping up Maisie's vegetables, I like to leave her vegetables in a little bit bigger pieces, not big pieces, but just enough that she has something that she can chew on, just to help her slow down her eating and not just gobble it, because she will go to her food bowl and just swallow it whole without even chewing it. She does that a lot with her kibble. So therefore, I have to put some water in it and soften it, or she will just swallow it whole chunks. And then you know what happens after she does that. It's not very long till those whole chunks come right back to haunt us. So the broccoli is going in. I have the beef chunks from the beef rendering, and I've put a little bit of the squash. This is too much squash to put the whole thing in, so I'm going to put a little bit of it in a boiler, and I'm going to have the rest of it for my lunch. Waste not, want not. Now I have Maisie's boiler of food on heating, and it's getting ready to boil. So next I'm going to get the apples on to cook. And when I do my apples, I like to leave the peel on. So I'm going to quarter them and then cut them in just kind of small chunks and put them in a small boiler. And this little bowl is where I'm collecting all of my vegetable peelings and trimmings, and my coffee grounds from this morning, my eggshells, and that's going to go out in my flower bed, and I'll dig it into the dirt so over the winter it can help enrich my soil in my flower bed where I'm going to plant my wildflowers in the spring. Now this is 2 apples chopped, so I'm going to put just a little bit of water in the boiler, about 2 tablespoons of butter, and this is just real butter. I'm going to add some cinnamon and a little bit of sugar, put that on the burner and get that started to boil. So while the apples start to cook, I'm going to go ahead and fix the potatoes and let the potatoes start cooking. And before I started, I did go ahead and scrub my potatoes. I scrubbed the apples, and I peeled and scrubbed the celery, so everything is ready to start cooking. So there are the apples. We'll put them on the burner and turn it on and let that start cooking. These are the little Yukon Gold potatoes I got at the grocery store last time. It was a bag of, I think 3 pounds. I've already thrown the bag away, but I think it was 3 pounds of the little small Yukon Gold potatoes, and I believe it was $6. And I like the Yukon Gold, whether I'm baking it or whether I'm putting the potatoes in to boil, to just eat as thickened potatoes or boiled potatoes. So that's what my potatoes are, and they are the little small ones. So now my apples are starting to boil on the burner. Maisie's food is boiling, and we're making good progress. Now this is the last little potato I have, so I'm going to dice it, cut it in quarters, and put that in the boiler. And the only thing I'm going to put in my potatoes is a little bit of the butter, probably a tablespoon of the butter, a little bit of salt, and let those come to a boil and they will start cooking. So there are those were 4 of the little small Yukon Gold potatoes. So now we'll put that on. While this comes to a boil, I'm going to start mixing up the salmon cakes. So this is the salmon, and I just opened it and put it in my boiler. It's the chicken of the sea, wild caught Alaskan pink salmon. And it says traditional style, but it's just the canned salmon. So I opened it, I put it in my boiler. It has a little bit too much juice in it, so I'm going to take the skin because I don't eat the skin on it. I do leave the bones in it. A lot of people leave the skin and the bones in it, but I just never have done that. But I think the skin would be really rich in collagen, which would be a good thing to leave in your salmon. And the bones are really rich in calcium. So I'm going to leave the bones on, but take the skin off. And I will put a lot of this extra juice in Maisie's boiler. Now I've added 6 crushed up saltine crackers to the salmon. And now I'm chopping the onion. And I have a 1/4 onion. I'm going to see how that does and see if that's enough, which I kind of think it is going to be enough. But we chop up the onion, and then after I get through chopping the onion, I'm going to chop the celery and put the celery in. Now the salmon is already pretty salty, so I'm not going to add any extra salt to it. And while the camera was off, I did go ahead and with my hands, I just mashed up the salmon, mixed all the bones up, crushed the bones as I mashed it up, and it's beautiful. It's working out really, really, really well. So let's go ahead and add the onion to it. And now I'm going to chop the celery and add the celery to it. And it's so much easier to slice, to have the curved side down, and then just chop it in little small diced pieces. So now the celery is going in. I have a tomato, which I only have a little piece of a tomato from one that I had gotten at the grocery store. And I'm going to go ahead and take the juice and the seeds out of that tomato, and I am going to add that tomato to my salmon. So that is something I don't usually do, but I'm going to do it this time because I have it in my refrigerator and I need to use it and not let it sit there and ruin. So now the potatoes are soft. I'm going to turn the burner off on the potatoes. The apples are still cooking. Maisie's food is pretty much done. All of her vegetables are soft. So I'm going to turn that burner off and let her vegetables just sit there and kind of continue to soften while I cook everything else. So everything's coming along, cooking together at the same time, so it can hopefully get all done and ready to eat at the same time. So I just dice the celery in just small little diced pieces. We don't want big chunks of celery in our salmon cakes, just enough to add the flavor and to know that it's in there. So much of cooking is looking at it and seeing how it looks as you go. Now I said I'm not going to add any salt, but I am going to add pepper. So I'm going to add pepper to it. I'm going to add 1 egg to it, and then go ahead and mix all of that up and get that all ready to make cakes and put in my skillet. Now in my skillet, I have put some avocado oil and a little bit of the butter. So now I'm just going to take out the juice and the seeds. And the reason I'm taking it out is because that's extra liquid that I don't want in my salmon cakes. So the tomato I'm just going to chop into little bitty pieces and add that on into my salmon cakes, and I think it will be good. So we're going to give it a try. Cooking, that's what makes cooking fun, is experimenting with different flavors, seeing how it turns out, seeing how it works. If you like it, you keep doing it. If you don't like it, you don't. Now, as I go, I've been putting up all of my supplies and cleaning my counter. So as I get through with everything, I put it right back up and declutter my counter. I only added a little bit more water to my apples, but they have cooked down where there's not very much juice in it at all. And the apples are tender, so I'm going to put the lid on the apples, turn the burner off, and let them sit on the back of the stove while the salmon cakes get done. So now everything is in. I'm going to go ahead and stir up the salmon mixture and get it all stirred up and mixed well. Now in a separate little bowl over on my counter, I have put half cornmeal and half flour. And when I get this all mixed up in a cake, I'm going to put it in the cornmeal and flour and just lightly coat the outside of it, and then put it in my skillet with the avocado oil and about a tablespoon of butter. Okay, that looks good. Now that's going to form real nice cakes. It's not too juicy, it's not too liquidy and wet. So that's going to work out really well. This is going to be a really good lunch. And Maizie and I are ready to eat. I've been doing some things this morning, so it's actually almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And Maizie keeps coming in here checking on me, saying, "Mama, it's lunchtime." Now I'm going to move you over this way, and I put the salmon patty, I just dusted it lightly with the flour and the cornmeal. So now we're going to get another one. And the oil that I had is my avocado oil and some butter, about a tablespoon of butter. And I'm going to make these patties kind of small, not really big. So I'm going to just lightly dust the front and the back with the cornmeal. And I have it on not high, but between medium and high heat on my stove. Now these would be good if you like ketchup with it, or if you would rather have tartar sauce. So I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit and let them cook a little bit slower and continue making my patties. Now I just turned the patties over and they look really, really pretty. That one kind of fell apart on me, but it's going to be okay. Now while Maisie's food is still hot, I'm going to go ahead and break an egg and put in Maisie's bowl, and I'll just stir that around, and the liquid is hot enough that it's going to cook the egg without turning the heat back on it. And I'm not going to add any extra oil to her food this time because the tallow was in the meat and the beef that I put in it, and the tallow is enough grease to go in it. So these little cakes are done. Don't those look beautiful? Those are really, really, really pretty salmon cakes. So now to cook the rest of them, and then Maisie and I will be ready for lunch. The salmon patties are almost done, and I did decide to go ahead and slice up that little squash that I had over on the side of the counter. So I sliced it up and I put it in my skillet while my salmon was cooking. So I have my fried squash to go along with my lunch. And this is the last of the patties, and they are almost done. Maisie's lunch is done, the potatoes are done, and the apples are done. So we are ready to get a plate and get ready to eat. So everything is done, and I am going to go ahead and add a spoonful of the pumpkin to Maisie's food. And she has been very, very patiently waiting in the kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and stir Maisie's food all up. And this is everything. I haven't added anything else to it except what I was telling you as we went. So I'm going to go ahead and feed Maisie, and then I'll come back and show you my plate. So now lunch is all finished. I'm ready to sit down and eat. We're hungry. But the salmon patties turned out beautifully. And I like putting the little breading on it, and it helps it to have a little bit of a crust. Maisie's licking her bowl. Her lunch was good. I have the potatoes, the squash that I put in the skillet with the salmon patties, the apples, and I went ahead and cut up a couple of pieces of avocado because somehow my plate turned out to be all the same color today, but it's going to be good. Now I could add some ketchup to it if I wanted to add some red color to it. Can't wait to eat that salmon cake. It's going to be good.